The music was soft, the lights dimmed to gold, and laughter filled the air as Claire walked into the engagement party. She smiled politely, nodding at familiar faces, holding her glass of wine a little tighter than usual. Her eyes scanned the room and stopped. There he was, Ethan, her husband of 7 years, laughing, relaxed, and beside him, Ava. Claire's stomach didn't twist. Not anymore. She had prepared for this. She watched as Ava leaned into Ethan's side, her hand casually sliding across his chest. His eyes sparkled, not with shame, but with boldness. Then Ava turned, cupped his face, and kissed him. Gasps rippled through the room. Someone dropped a drink. Claire stood still, her face calm. Ethan turned to her, almost expecting tears, maybe a scream, but Claire did none of that. Instead, she walked forward, slow and steady. Her heels clicked softly against the floor, but in that silence, they sounded like thunder. She reached into her clutch, pulled out a crisp envelope, and handed it to Ethan. "For you," she said simply, locking eyes with him. He took it, confused. His eyes widened as he read the words, "Divorce agreement. Signed. Final. Ready." "You thought I didn't know," Claire said, her voice low but clear. "I knew." For months, people were staring now. Phones were out. Whispers grew louder. Claire's heart pounded, but not from nerves, from control, the kind you earn when you've been quiet too long. "I waited for the right moment," she added, "and here it is." Ethan opened his mouth but said nothing. Ava stepped back slightly, her hand falling from his arm. Claire turned, walked away without another word, her spine straight, her chin high. Behind her, the party was no longer a celebration. It had turned into a scene. Some guests looked shocked. Others looked impressed. A few smiled like they'd just watched the best plot twist in a movie. Claire kept walking, out the door, into the night air. She felt something she hadn't in months. Peace. And behind her, Ethan was still standing there, silent, holding the papers as the room buzzed around him. Claire sat on her couch, her heels still on, divorce papers finally out of her purse and tossed onto the table. She stared at nothing for a long minute before reaching for her phone. Her fingers moved without thinking, opening Ava's profile. Avenue. That name used to mean something. Her best friend since college. They'd lived together in their 20s, pulled all-nighters before finals, shared heartbreaks, jobs, birthdays. Ava had held Claire's hair back when she was sick. She'd helped Claire pick out her wedding dress. She was even a bridesmaid. Claire's jaw clenched as she scrolled through photos, some new, some familiar. And there, in the background of one picture from 3 weeks ago, was the blue ceramic vase. Claire's vase. It wasn't just similar, it was hers, on her hallway table, in her home. Claire paused. That day, she'd been at work. Her job didn't allow her to leave early or work from home. She remembered it clearly because it was the day she came back and smelled something odd. Someone else's perfume lingering. Too floral. Not hers. She hadn't thought much of it. Now, she knew. Claire tapped on the next photo. Ava in Claire's kitchen. Same countertop. Her fruit bowl. She zoomed in. The edge of Claire's cat's tail was visible in the frame. It hadn't been just cheating. Ava had been in her house. While Claire was working. She wasn't just the other woman. She had been playing house in Claire's life. Claire's hands shook slightly, but she didn't stop. She opened her message history. Most were old, but deep down, buried in archived texts, were messages that now read differently. Ava, "You sure he's still at the gym when you're not home?" Claire, "Yeah, why?" Ava, "Just wondering. You always trust too easily." She thought Ava was just teasing, being protective. Another one. Ava, "I could feed the cat if you're late. I've got your key from last time." Claire hadn't asked her to. She didn't even remember giving her the key, but Ava had stayed over plenty in the past. It must have been then. Claire's eyes narrowed. She flipped back to the divorce papers on the table. None of this was an accident. This had been going on for longer than she thought. How long had she been played? Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "I didn't mean for you to find out that way. Can we talk?" No name, but she knew who it was. Claire didn't answer. She opened a new folder on her phone, titled it Receipts, and began taking screenshots. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This was war, and it had just begun. Claire sat cross-legged on the bedroom floor, laptop open, bank statements spread out like crime scene evidence. A mug of untouched coffee sat beside her, cold. Her fingers moved fast, pulling up PDFs, highlighting charges, and scribbling notes. It started small, little gaps in her savings. automatic transfers she didn't remember setting. At first, she blamed herself. Maybe she'd forgotten. Maybe she was too distracted lately. But the numbers didn't lie. Over $11,000 missing from her personal account, transferred slowly, a few hundred here, 1,000 there, all over the past 8 months. Right around when Ethan started acting distant, she clicked into their joint bank account, one she never used. It was mostly for groceries, utilities. At least, it was supposed to be. Instead, she found multiple cash withdrawals, hotel charges, a charge at a luxury spa in Napa. Ethan had told her he was visiting his brother that weekend. But what made her blood run cold was the wire transfer, $4,500 to an international travel agency. 2 weeks before he claimed he had a business trip in New York. Claire opened her email, dug up a photo Ava had once posted. It was of the Eiffel Tower at night, posted on the exact date of that business trip. Paris, not New York. She leaned back, exhaling sharply. That was her money, her savings. The account had been built from years of freelance gigs, careful budgeting, skip vacations. He had used it to take his mistress to Paris. Then something worse hit her. She got up and walked to her closet. Top shelf, black velvet box. Her grandmother's bracelet, a delicate piece of antique gold and aquamarine, priceless to her. She hadn't worn it in months. The box was empty. She ran back to the laptop and opened Ethan's email, which she still had access to. A confirmation receipt from an upscale pawn shop popped up. 2 months ago. A photo was attached. It was her bracelet. Claire stared at the screen, breath shallow. He hadn't just betrayed her heart. He'd stolen her past, her trust, her future. She closed the laptop, stood up, and walked to the window, jaw tight. Ethan hadn't just cheated. He robbed her blind. Claire picked the restaurant. Bright, upscale, neutral territory. She arrived early, ordered sparkling water, and waited. 10 minutes later, Ava walked in wearing sunglasses and a dress Claire once complimented 2 years ago. She'd never returned it then. Now Claire realized Ava had probably taken more than compliments. Ava smiled, like nothing was wrong. "You look surprisingly good," she said, sliding into the booth. Claire returned the smile. "Thanks. I thought we should talk." "Closure?" Ava asked, raising an eyebrow. "Or forgiveness?" Claire laughed softly. "Maybe both." Ava ordered wine, something expensive, bold. She swirled the glass like she was starring in her own drama. She didn't apologize, didn't even flinch. She talked like someone who had already won. "I didn't mean for it to happen," Ava said, sipping her drink. "But Ethan, well, you know how distant he's been." Claire nodded, eyes soft, voice low. "I guess I always sensed it. I just didn't want to believe it." "You were too trusting," Ava said, like a teacher giving a lesson. "He told me everything, about the fights, the money. You're stronger than I expected, though. Showing up at that party, that was bold." Claire smiled faintly, masking the burn in her chest. She reached for her own glass and leaned forward. "Do you love him?" Ava shrugged. "Love's a big word, but I know what I want." Claire tilted her head. "And what's that?" Ava's smile grew colder. "Everything you had, but better." The server came to clear plates. Claire let Ava finish her wine. When she stood to leave, Claire reached casually across the table and picked up Ava's empty glass. "Oops," she said with a quick laugh, slipping it into her tote bag. "Force of habit. I'll return it next time." Ava didn't notice or didn't care. She just flicked her hair back and walked off like she hadn't just gutted someone. Claire sat in her car for a moment, staring at the glass, lipstick still on the rim, fingerprints, DNA. Ava had no idea Claire was building a case piece by piece. Later that night, Ava texted Ethan. "She's still so naive. This'll be easier than we thought." Claire read the message. She wasn't naive. She was just getting started. Claire knocked on Tyler's apartment door just after 9. He opened it in pajama pants, a gaming headset around his neck. "Let me guess," he said, stepping aside. "You want to burn your ex digitally." "Just light him up," she replied, walking in. Tyler had been her college friend, a cybersecurity guy with questionable morals, but a loyal heart. Claire explained everything, what Ethan had done, the money, Ava. She showed him the texts, the photos, the bank records. "I need proof," she said, "real proof, and I need it quietly." Tyler nodded. "I can mirror his phone. You'll get everything, texts, call logs, locations. He won't even know." Within a day, it was done. Claire had access to Ethan's digital life. Every new text and GPS ping came to her phone. She didn't react, didn't respond, just watched. He texted Ava constantly. "Ethan, She's playing it cool. That worries me. Ava, relax. She's harmless. Once the judge sees the right side of things, she won't get a dime. Ethan, exactly. She's been off lately. I'll say she's unstable. That'll help us keep the house. Claire sat on her bed, staring at the screen. She got everything. Voice memos, screenshots, even GPS logs showing Ethan and Ava had spent nights in hotels just blocks from her job. One voicemail hit hardest. Ethan's voice, low and steady. I know how to play this. She's too emotional, always has been. I'll make sure she's left with nothing. Claire paused the audio. Her pulse didn't race. She didn't cry. She saved it, labeled it Exhibit A. As the days passed, she collected more. Ava laughing on the phone about how dumb Claire used to be. Ethan mocking her new haircut. Even plans to move into Claire's house once the court makes it official. They had no idea she was listening. Claire kept it all in a hidden folder, backed up to a flash drive and a cloud server. Every insult, every lie, every cruel plan. Tyler helped her set up legal backups too. Courts like patterns, he said. And this is a whole damn mosaic. Claire knew exactly what to do next. They wanted to win everything. They thought she was the weak one. But Claire had their entire plan in her pocket. And soon, a judge would too. Claire walked into the law office wearing her best blazer and a stare that didn't blink. The receptionist glanced up but said nothing. This place was quiet, cold, perfect. Then came Marla Levine. Sharp suit, sharper eyes. Claire had researched her. Known for brutal cross-examinations, never lost a high-value divorce. I read your email, Marla said, flipping through Claire's file. Your husband's sloppy. That works in our favor. Claire nodded. I'm not just here to get free. I want everything back, and I want him exposed. Marla leaned forward. Then we fight like hell. That afternoon, Claire listed her car online. It sold within days. She moved out of the house and into her friend Jordan's spare room. A mattress on the floor. Her boxes stacked high. No luxuries, just focus. She met with Marla twice a week. They built a countersuit for financial misconduct and emotional harm. Claire brought the receipts, texts, voice notes, GPS data, the forged account transfers, the pawn shop sale. It wasn't just cheating, it was character destruction, theft, gaslighting, all documented. Marla read through everything, impressed. We won't just win, she said. We'll bury them. Claire opened her tote and slid a folder across the desk. Inside, a printed transcript of Ethan and Ava's recorded call. Ethan. She's always had this mental fragility, you know? The court'll eat that up. Play the concerned husband card. If we time it right, she'll lose everything. Ava. Just make her look crazy. Easy enough. She always looked a little too perfect, if you ask me. Marla read the page slowly, then again, then looked up. We'll start with a subpoena for every financial record he touched in the past year, she said, voice sharp. He won't even know what hit him. Claire didn't smile. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was war. And she had all the ammunition. Claire sat in the dim light of Jordan's kitchen, laptop open, earbuds in. Her fingers moved quickly, attaching files to an anonymous email, photos of Ava and Ethan together, time-stamped, audio recordings, short and sharp, Ethan laughing, Ava calling Claire a sad little housewife. She sent it all to Ava's HR department. Ava worked at a conservative PR firm that catered to politicians and luxury brands. Their moral conduct clause was strict. No scandal, no exposure, no drama. Dating a married client, grounds for immediate termination. Claire didn't wait for a response. She just closed her laptop, poured herself tea, and watched the clock. 2 days later, Ava's Instagram was wiped clean, bio removed, posts deleted. By the end of the week, Ava was gone from the company's website. Claire confirmed it through a friend of a friend. In HR, she was let go for conflict of interest and ethics violations. Claire felt nothing. Next, she filed a request through Marla to freeze the joint bank account. Ethan would be served a notice within 48 hours. All shared funds were locked pending the divorce hearing. No spending, no transfers. Claire also submitted an affidavit to challenge the legitimacy of the joint credit cards. She included the forged signature samples. Fraud investigation opened. All charges paused. She didn't text Ethan, didn't gloat. She just moved in silence. That Friday night, while scrolling through a silent movie on Jordan's couch, Claire got a new alert from the spyware app. Audio recording triggered. Ava, you said she wouldn't fight back. Ethan, she wasn't supposed to. I don't know what the hell she's doing. Ava, I lost my job, Ethan. My job. You said you had control over this, and now I can't even use the damn car because she froze it. Ethan, we'll fix it. Just calm down. Ava, number. You fix it. You promised me everything she had. Claire closed her eyes, the recording still playing softly. Ava yelling. Ethan stumbling. They had built their world on lies and stolen trust. Now, piece by piece, Claire was tearing it down, and they never saw it coming. The courthouse smelled like floor polish and old coffee. Claire sat quietly in the hallway outside the hearing room, her hands folded in her lap, dressed in navy blue and silent. Marla sat beside her, flipping through a thick binder of evidence like she was reading a menu. Across the hall, Ethan paced in his suit, his lawyer whispering last-minute lines. He glanced over once, trying his old smirk. Claire didn't even blink. Inside the courtroom, the hearing began. Claire sat still, watching Ethan take the stand first. He played it well, calm, friendly, likable. Claire's been under a lot of stress, he told the judge, voice just a bit softer than usual. She's been emotionally distant for some time. I tried everything I could to make it work. He paused for effect. She became paranoid, unstable, started accusing me of things that weren't true. I didn't want to hurt her. I just wanted peace. Claire met his eyes, still didn't blink. Then it was Marla's turn. She stood slowly, took her time. Let's start with Exhibit A, she said, placing a folder on the judge's desk. A voice message from Mr. Ethan Ward. The courtroom speakers clicked on. Ethan's voice played. She's always had this mental fragility, you know. The court'll eat that up. Play the concerned husband card. If we time it right, she'll lose everything. The judge's eyebrows lifted. Ethan's lawyer objected. Overruled. Marla kept going. Photos of Ava and Ethan during the marriage. Financial records showing theft. Signed documents that weren't Claire's signature. She laid it all out, one clean piece at a time. Claire didn't speak once. She didn't need to. Then came the texts. Ava mocking Claire. Ethan discussing how to manipulate court perceptions. A timeline of stolen funds, pawned jewelry, and lies. By the time Marla finished, the courtroom was silent. Ethan's face had gone pale. His lawyer leaned back, defeated. The judge took the thick binder, flipped through pages slowly. He stopped once, looked at a printout of the pawnshop receipt. He looked up at Ethan. You sold your wife's family heirloom during your marriage and didn't disclose it. Ethan opened his mouth, but no sound came out. The judge didn't respond. He just kept reading, and Claire sat still, watching. This wasn't over, but the truth was finally louder than the lies. The courtroom was quiet except for the shuffling of papers and the sound of the judge's voice, steady and final. In light of the evidence presented, he said, looking over his glasses at Ethan, this court finds that Mr. Ethan Ward engaged in deceptive financial practices, emotional manipulation and non-disclosure of marital assets. Claire sat motionless beside Marla, hands folded in her lap. Therefore, the judge continued, the house is awarded to Mrs. Claire Ward. The court also grants monthly alimony for a duration of 5 years, along with an additional payment of $18,000 in compensatory damages related to the unauthorized sale of heirloom property and misused funds. Ethan shifted in his seat, his lawyer whispering something useless in his ear. His eyes didn't move to Claire, not once. His jaw clenched, but he said nothing. The judge looked toward Claire. Do you have anything to say, Mrs. Ward? She shook her head once. No, Your Honor. No gloating, no speech, just the calm power of a woman who no longer owed anyone her pain. The gavel hit the desk. Court is adjourned. Marla packed up the file with a crisp efficiency. You just won a full sweep, she said under her breath. That doesn't happen often. Claire nodded, rising from her chair. Her legs felt steady. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like she had to fake being okay. She was okay. Across the courtroom, Ethan sat slouched, shoulders sagging. Ava hadn't shown up. Not today. Not yesterday. Claire had seen her name removed from the lease on Ethan's new apartment. Whatever future they'd imagined had cracked the moment the money dried up. And Ava vanished just like she'd arrived. Silently, selfishly. Claire walked toward the exit, her heels quiet against the tile. Ethan stood up when she passed him, maybe to say something, but he didn't. He looked at her, only for a second, then away, like it hurt too much. Claire didn't stop. She pushed the heavy courthouse doors open, stepped into the bright light of late afternoon, and inhaled deeply. The air smelled like dust and car exhaust and something sharper, freedom. People passed on the street, unaware that a war had just ended inside. She didn't cry, didn't smile. She just walked forward, head high, leaving Ethan behind in a place where he could no longer reach her. And this time, he didn't follow. The restaurant hadn't changed. Same soft lights, same gold-trimmed wine glasses, same piano in the corner playing songs no one really listened to. Claire stepped inside with quiet confidence, her dress simple, her smile effortless. It had been 6 months since the divorce was finalized. She had a new job, project manager at a design firm. It paid well, but more importantly, it respected her. Her days were full, her nights peaceful. No drama, no lies. She didn't come here for nostalgia. She came to show herself that this place no longer held power over her. As she ordered a drink and scanned the room, she noticed familiar faces, friends from the engagement party, some looking surprised to see her. A few gave her nods of respect, subtle but sincere. Then she saw him, Ethan, alone, hair messier, suit slightly wrinkled, eyes older somehow. He saw her almost immediately, froze, then stood up. "Claire," he said, walking over slowly. "You look different." "I am," she said, calm. He shifted awkwardly. "I didn't think you'd show your face here again." Claire raised an eyebrow. "That's the thing about shame. Only the guilty carry it." He gave a tight laugh. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry for how things happened." She didn't flinch. "You kissed her in front of me." "I know," he said quickly. "It was stupid. We both made mistakes." She tilted her head. "Number you made choices. I made a life." Ethan looked down at his hands. "Ava's gone. She left a few weeks after everything hit. Took some money. Disappeared. Guess we both got played, huh?" Claire didn't respond. She wasn't here for his pity or reflection. He looked up again, a little too hopeful. "Maybe one day we could talk. Really talk. Just for closure." She met his eyes, clear and steady. "You destroyed me," she said, voice low but sharp. "I rebuilt. That's the difference between us." She stepped past him, without waiting for a response. Outside, the night air was cool. The music from the restaurant drifted out behind her, but it was faint, forgettable. Claire walked down the street, into her future, and she didn't look back.